Back now to our breaking news in the search for 11-month-old Lisa Irwin. Local police and FBI are conducting a new search at this moment, taking what appear to be evidence bags from a neighbor's home. They have shut down media access to the street. They don't want this videotaped. That neighbor whose house they are at was drinking with Lisa's mother the night the parents say the baby disappeared. Yesterday, I had the chance to speak with Deborah Bradley and Jeremy Irwin, the parents of this little girl, about the search for their daughter. Both parents denying that they had anything to do with her disappearance and making this plea to the public.
Bring her home or drop her off somewhere, anywhere, so that we can get her back home where she belongs.
Please think of her. She needs her mother, she needs her father, she needs her brothers, she needs her family, and we need her. We will be incomplete until she comes home. Please think of her.
Judge Janine Pirro is host of Justice with Judge Janine, and Pat Brosnan is a former NYPD detective. I'm so glad to have you both here because there were several news items made in my 2-hour interview with the family, and some are direct contradictions to what they told you a week ago, Janine, when you were in Kansas City, or 2 weeks ago, and made your interview for your show.
I was there last week and the week before.
Okay, when you interviewed the parents, it was a week and a half ago. The number one news item coming out of that interview was perhaps the change in story regarding the time the mother last saw the little baby. She had been saying 10:30, 10:30, 10:30. Then she told me yesterday, in fact, the last time she remembers seeing her daughter was at 6:40. Watch what she told me and watch what she told Janine.
What time did you put Lisa down to bed initially?
6:40.
Okay, and that's her normal bedtime?
No, it's usually between 7:30 and 8, but she had been kind of fussy,
okay.
And I just decided to put her down.
Who went to bed first, Debbie?
Lisa.
Lisa?
I put the boys to bed, and then I went to sleep.
The neighbor was gone when you went to sleep?
Yeah.
Okay, and you think that was about 10:30?
And she said, yeah. So she said she put the baby down at 10:30, and that's what the police have been telling us for 2 weeks as well, and now it's different.
Well, she has been saying to the press consistently for the last 2 weeks that the baby, she looked at that baby at 10:30 at night. She told me in the interview that she had put the baby down a couple of hours earlier. And of course, she changes her story yesterday and she says it was at 6:40. And Megyn, you know that kicks in a whole new possibility of possible kidnappers, or in terms of the investigation. Where do you look? We've got another 4 hours to account for. So this is damning information that all of a sudden she comes out with.
She doesn't think it's that significant because she says she was sitting on the front stoop the entire time. How could somebody get into the house between 6:40 and 10:30 without her knowing?
Well, naturally, she doesn't think it's that vital, but it actually is a very vital admission to the extent that it opens up a 4-hour window of investigative questions. That's the critical point of it. So
what does it say to you that this is the first time we're hearing it, that 2 weeks into it is the first time there's a time change?
Very, very troubling. But equally as troubling is all of a sudden she recalls that she may have blacked out.
Yeah. She possibly blacked out, is what she said. And then she admitted not remembering whether, in fact, she had checked on the daughter later that evening or not. She doesn't remember. Does that strike you as a strategy, Judge? You know, a strategy to say, I don't remember it this late in the case?
You know, it strikes me not necessarily as a strategy, but I'm almost at the point where I'm saying there's some consciousness of wrongdoing here and they're changing their story. It seems that for her to say that there's a 4-hour difference from last week to this week as to when the last time was she saw the baby, and the whole idea of saying, she said to me, the baby never really fusses, she's a perfect baby, and then she starts wailing. She says to you in your interview, well, you know, she was so fussy, I had to put her down. I mean, these are direct contradictions, Megyn. I mean, there is something going on here.
There's another important piece of this case, and that is were the lights on or off. Originally, she claimed that when she went to bed at 10:30, she turned off the lights, and then when the husband came home, the lights were on. And for 2 weeks, we've all been asking, how can that be? What intruder would go into the house and turn on the lights? Wouldn't they do the opposite? Take a look at what she told me about the lights contrasted with what she told the judge.
You remember turning them off when you went to bed?
I was told I turned them off.
By whom?
The neighbors.
Do you remember going around and turning them off that night?
No, I don't remember doing that.
So your only reason to believe that you turned them off is the neighbor telling you she saw them off?
Exactly.
Were the lights on or off when you went to bed?
I turned them all off.
Unbelievable.
It is. Well, it's the same intruder. It's the same smartest burglar in the history of Missouri. The same one that knew magically that Jeremy was working for the first time in his adult life that night. That was his first night shift.
Is
the
it
same window?
Is it arguably not inconsistent because when she talked to you, maybe she was just saying, I turned them off, and she was omitting, so my neighbor told me?
Well, I think the fact that so much is coming out now is indicative of her and her husband, I think, having, you know, a change of thoughts in how they're going to propose their defense. I think that we're almost at that point, Megyn. I have to tell you, this is not good. I asked them directly, could someone have gone through that screen? No, no, no. You